It is Monday morning, start of the week. Job in hand. Well, before the start of the job at hand, it's still windy. The weather's still very, very unsettled. Just very, very unusual. It might be a little milder. It's not raining, which is a start. It's been raining for the last 3 days non-stop, and it's just been a nightmare to work in. But anyway, the job in hand today is to start thinking about silage. This time last year, we would have had our silage finished about 4 days now, and in the pit. Nowhere near at the year. Everything's way behind, so I'm hoping that we'll get our silage cut maybe in the next week, 10 days. I wouldn't be surprised if it takes us well into June before we get our silage cut this year, but we'll just have to get on with it. The first job I'm going to be starting to do now is I'm going to clear all this stuff out of the silage pit for starters. I'm going to take all the bags off the walls. As you can see, our case hasn't gone yet, but it's leaving us now in 2 days, so I'm not going to have it probably during silage time. So I was going to leave some of these bags on pallets that I could lift them up onto the pit. I'm not going to be able to do that now because the tractor simply won't be here. So I'm going to have to do them the way we did it before and just stack them in different places. Get this all cleaned out, get all the old silage taken away. I have old silage to take away from these cows as well. And then wet the whole thing down, give it a good sweeping, and then give it a bit of a wash out. Just to kind of make a start and kind of start putting it in our heads that maybe at some stage we might get our silage cut. Right, so it's just gone 7 o'clock. I'm just finished milking for the evening. And there's one thing I want to do. I'm on the case here, as you can probably tell. I want to take this dash out. It is a bit dark in here at the moment because I'm in the calving pen beside the cows here. I want to get this dash taken out completely and get it sent away, because it'll probably take a week, 2 weeks before it comes back. So at least it'll be back when the tractor comes back, and it'll be another little thing fixed on the case. I am going to source a few things when it's away. I'm going to try to source or do something with this cab. If there's anybody out there who thinks they could refurb that there for me, love for you to get in contact with me. This here is going to have to be replaced, this one. Keep this, but I'm going to have to see, can I find a new one of these, and the same on the other side. It's not as bad on the other side, but I think I'll put a new one on there. I'm going to tie that up. Another thing I'm going to do is I'm going to try to find a new housing for this. You see the way the slots is gone. What happens is, after a time, heat and things in the cab, the twist, and then the gears move a little bit more than they used to. Lo and behold, when you start moving the gears, it starts to hit again these, and it starts to break, and that's just what happens. So I'm going to try to find a new one of those. Another thing I'm going to do with it is definitely I'm going to get my electric man when it comes back to have a look at the heater system and the aircon. I'm going to get that all working, because it was working perfectly when I bought this tractor. It's just, it had a little bit of an overheat, a little bit of a fire nearly started, and it's just probably going to be something simple to fix. So I am going to let a man who knows where he's at dig into that and fix that properly. Another thing is, they're put in with these. I don't like that. That's not a nice job at all. So I'm going to actually get the screws and the proper brackets and put this back together. I hate things like that. Just don't look good. Let's pull this panel out. All that's holding it in place is just a little rotor and pins. Measures of that. So that's it. That's it out. There's any writing on that? No. Real smell of burning. Yes, there is a hell of a smell of burning coming from that. That's not a good thing. So what I'll do is I'll clean that all up, send it off, and hopefully when the tractor comes back, this will be back at the same time, and hopefully it'll be like new. So the time has finally come to send away our case. I will miss it. I use it all the time, every single day. And it's going to be a big loss to me when it's not here. I can have a lot of stuff done now. I've been working with it the last couple of days, doing as much as I can with it before it goes away, because it could be gone 2-3 weeks, I don't know. A friend of mine who does this work for me only does it in the evenings, but he also has his farm work to do as well after work, so he doesn't get that much time to get at it. It's a big job, so it's just a matter of getting the time and getting it done. I'll be glad to get it back. So I'm just dropping a few blocks of silage here to the cattle to keep them going, because I won't have it to put it in anymore. There's only 3 in there, the calves, so that'll keep them going for the next week or so. I'm taking off the grab now, taking off the back weight. I'm going to run this tractor then to the man's house, and my wife's going to come and collect me. She's going to drop off the clutch pack that we got from John Connolly, so we picked that up some time ago. I'm not sure if I showed this video, and any bits and pieces we have to get as well. We might have to do another run today, or just if there's anything else, that whatever he comes across, replace it, because it's worth doing. I'll turn off for a second because it can be a bit loud. But a lot of people did mention, would you put a bronze clutch into it or a heavy clutch? I've drove tractors that have them on, and when you're putting in silage and loading with it, it's a heavy clutch, and I didn't want to do that. Like this tractor, as I said before, I have it 5 years. This clutch was starting to go when I bought it. I've got 5 years out of it, so I'm not a hard man on the clutch. I was thinking about it for a while, but no, I went again it. Even the guy that's fitting it for me said it's a very heavy clutch. Yes, it'll last a lot longer, but it's seriously heavy on your leg, and he says it'll make the tractor very uncomfortable to drive, and I think I agree with him. So I'm just going to put the normal clutch pack into it. It'll definitely be a different tractor when it comes back, because it really does need it. So let's get this rear weight off, get that yoke off as well, and head up the road, drop her off. Journey here to this man's house. So this is a job I can't wait to get done. This is going to make a huge difference to this tractor. I'm already missing her, I'm still on her. Does that make sense? any of you guys are ever looking for a small tractor for the yard, I do recommend these. I just recommend them to the highest degree. This is the first time I've ever had a mechanically get in and done to it. Apart from putting the loader on, that would have been something that was added. It is the first time I ever had to leave it away to get a mechanical job done on it. So that's it, that's the case gone. It's a different evening now. Look at the sky. That's one angry looking sky. The weather's so changeable. The wet is back, giving a very broken spell now again. Although it is warmer, grass is literally walking it out of the ground. We've actually too much grass now nearly in front of the cows. It changes just so quickly. But we knew that. We knew the growth would come probably eventually. And when it would come, it'd come in a surge. There was so much probably nitrogen in the ground. It was just there waiting for a bit of heat just to burst up. I made a lovely video earlier on of Nicole moving the fence and Sophia bringing in the cows, and we're all working together. And what I do, only didn't record it in time lapse, or time warp actually. It was even worse. I lost that coverage, and it was cool because they were all out working away as they do every evening. But we'll get it another evening. We'll show you just, I was kind of hiding behind the hedge, showing you the way they were taking down the fences and things. It's a good thing to watch your kids doing the work for you. There's no more pleasing thing than seeing the next generation out doing the work. But the cows, as you can see, are out here now grazing after milking. This is what they grazed last night. You can see plenty of grass left on it, so they have piles of grass. They can barely eat what's in front of them. What I'll do here in a situation like this, where you have a lot of grass left over, because if this grass is not that tight, it's not going to grow back right. It's going to be an stemmy kind of grass. So what I tend to do is I let them graze down to the very bottom, and I make sure that the last section of grass that they get is small. But that day before they go into it, I've mowed this all out with a disc mower, and it'll get all the long grass, and then they will eat that clean. They will eat that perfectly clean, and then you get a lovely growth of grass coming back. That's just how handy the disc mower is compared to a topper. You couldn't do that with a topper. Disc mower, when it comes to dairy farming, all the way. So just to come back to the house here now, I know a lot of you guys have asked me about the results of how the rake man done after it sowed grass seed and things, how the grass done. In the other field over the lane, we call our meadow, remember I done a bit of stitch sowing. You'll have to take my word on it, it done really well. I did film it on my phone. If I can get that footage on the phone, I'll put it up on Instagram. It did grow. It grew really well. The problem was the weather got really, really wet. The cows went in and they tramped it to bits again. But the grass seed's there. It will grow. So I'll be rolling that field tomorrow. But I can show you the garden and the field that we sowed. What's it? Is it nearly 2 weeks in now? Here behind me, and you can see the results of it. So you can see it's growing well. The growth now has come. It's just shooting out of the field this last 2 days. You can see how even it is. I'm not sure if the GoPro picks it up because it's getting dark now. The GoPro's not much good in the dark, but I'm hoping that you can see it. So the proof's in the pudding. There it is. It's a super bit of kit. The top of the hill that we sowed as well is all up. The bits of tracks and things that were through the field, it's all up. It's all grown really well. So it's a mighty machine. Which is sitting down there in the shed to be, beside the reformed Ferguson to be. It's got the bonnet back on it too. It's good bit of progress made in it now. We're nearly getting ready to start it. Getting very excited. There'll be more episodes coming on it very shortly. But that little Rakeman 3000, a machine worth investing in. I just cannot recommend it enough. Now I know a lot of you guys went out and bought one. I know this because you sent me messages, loads and loads of private messages of guys going out and buying that after watching our video. I'm glad to see some people went out and bought one, because I know they're going to be happy with it. I just know you're going to be happy with it. We love it, and anybody that has one has used it so far and sent me loads of messages telling me the same thing. It's incredible. Now another thing I will say as well is the size of it. Now the Rakeman 3000 only comes, I think, in a 3 metre. I'm nearly sure it just only comes in a 3 metre. Because the first thing I done was I looked at the Jarmet. It's very same, only it was maybe not just as heavy built, but it's the very same. Now there's another section wider. I don't know exactly what many meters it was. I don't think it was 6 meters. It was 4 point something or something like that. Maybe one of you guys know. That was the machine I nearly bought. So what I done was I spoke to a few contractors. That's what I always do before I buy anything. Same with the slurry tanker. Same with even the trailer, believe it or not. I spoke to people that have the same item themselves and are really using it, and asked them first what they think of it. So I spoke to three actual contractors about that rake man before I bought it. One of the guys was Jonathan Thompson that was here, who done the lime. Them guys do reseeding all year round, every year. And he told me, size wise, go for the 3 metre. Don't go for anything wider, because what happens is when you go wider, it'll be inclined to bounce up and down. Unless your land is dead flat and as smooth as a baby's backside, it will bounce, he said. And if you do any kind of speed at all, it will bounce back and forth. And if you're trying to rake in grassy, you don't want something that's bouncing, digging in and lifting up and digging in, lifting up as you're going along. So he said, without doubt, 100%, buy the 3 metre. That's the one to go with. And funny enough, the other two contractors said the exact same. Go with the 3 metre. You have a far steadier machine, won't bounce about, and whatever you lose in width, you'll make up in the speed you can travel. So don't take my word for it. Best thing you can do is get onto your own contractor, whoever he is, wherever you are in the world, get onto your own contractor first and ask them the same thing and see what they say. So Hudson and Bailey are eating all the grass around them all evening, so I think that's a sign of rain. Usually they say a dog eats grass, it's a sign of rain. Well, I always heard that said, so that's not good. Quit eating that grass. Hey, just before I do leave, there's a hole here. Yeah, something coming there in 2-3 weeks. Get power set up for it, and I have to put in a base, a concrete base. But there's something really exciting coming there. It's been custom built at the moment, but there's something very cool coming there. The silage pit, at least now, is clean and ready to rock. We are ready to rock as soon as the weather calms itself down and gives us something that we need to allow people to get their silage cut. It's going to be a hardship now trying to get silage in, because this is the time of year you want good weather. You want it for the next 3-4 weeks so people can get their silage in, and it's just becoming a bit of a nightmare, so it is. One thing that did happen this morning when I was milking was our water heater that heats the water for washing our milk tank and warming milk and things like that. 100 litres of nearly boiling water decided to absolutely blow up, and I don't mean it just leaked, cracked. It blew up. It blew the lid clean off it during the middle of milking. It blew really hot water down across the cows, burnt my arms, burnt my back. Thankfully it didn't get on the cows because it hit the right hand side and I was in the middle and it just got me on the side. But it was a scary thing because I didn't know what had happened. I thought that big tree there was after falling on top of the milking power. That's how loud it was. It scared the living daylights out of the cows. I had to let them out, even with the clusters on them, because they were going to jump across the feeders. But anyway, I ordered a new boiler. Hopefully we'll be able to tear the other one out, and I'll show you the mess that it made because we had to pull out some of the floors. Everywhere was just destroyed, and we ordered a new boiler, and hopefully it'll land on Monday and we'll be putting that in place. So maybe we put that into a midweek video. A lot of you asked about the security cameras that are on our farm. I know we're supposed to do a video last January or February about them, but we're waiting for a couple of special cameras to come in. Let's just say special cameras to come in. We had to put them in order, and they only came in there recently. So Stephen was back and he was fitting them yesterday. So we didn't do a video yesterday because I was just way too busy. There was just loads of stuff happening all around the farm and I just didn't have time to video. So what I said I'd do instead is I'd invite him back someday to talk about farm security, business security, whatever it is, CCTV or calving cameras, whatever you want, and we'll do a video on it. And I think a lot of people would be interested in it because the day we live in, you do need a bit of security. If you have any questions about cameras or whatever you want to know, comment in the section below, ask the questions, and when Stephen's here within the month, I'll ask him all them questions and I'll go through them and we'll cover everything we can. At least you get a bit of knowledge, if nothing else. Anyway folks, I'm going to leave it for the night. I am exhausted. I am absolutely knackered tonight. It's been a long day. Thanks for watching the video. Hope you enjoyed it. And if you did, there's one thing you can do, and that's hit that sub button. You can give us a like. You can leave a comment down below, as I mentioned before. We'll do our best to get back to them. You can follow us on Instagram, Facebook, and on TikTok. And until the next one, folks, talk to you again.